Originally, this video was going to be rather positive in tone, but now, after this most recent update, this game has soured its taste to me. The devs proved with just one update, they are money hungry, they do not care a single bit what the fans think, and have the actual worst design decisions I've ever seen in a game, period. The game in question is Anime Adventures, an extensive game that is frequently updated with units that are useless within 1 to 2 updates, traits that are impossible to get unless you sell your kidney, events that overall suck, and honestly not much more to it. The most recent update being a Chainsaw Man themed update, with a plethora of mediocre units that are at best annoying to get. First loading into the game, there's a story mode and infinite mode, the Infinity Tower, raids, and challenges. All this to do, and more. You can evolve units with star fruits you get from challenges, you can unlock new maps by completing worlds in story mode, and the Infinity Tower is a really good way to get gems. And that leads me into one of my few positives. The sheer amount of things to do is amazing. Always having a goal feels nice, but I assume it can be daunting for some, especially new players. As a fresh join, there's so much to do immediately. Assuming you do not have the VIP Game Pass, the amount of gems required for a single Mythic Pity is 20,000, which is a lot. It takes days and days of grinding to get that, especially as a new joiner. And not only that, you need to think about what type of unit you want. Do you want an anti-air? Do you want a boss killer? How about a specific type of element? Do you have the means to evolve that unit? All these questions need to be asked before you spend your gems. Here's an example. Gojo. Decent pre-evo, but mainly good on evolution. High placement damage with an overpowered ability. And also is decently cost-effective, with the downsides of not being able to hit airs, and his evolution is really luck-dependent. And that's just one example. I'd have less problem with this, but there's absolutely no test area. You cannot test mythics. You just have to roll and guess. Now, the main response people usually have to this is, oh, well, you can just look up the stats, or you can just look up what the units do. And yes, you can, in fact, look up unit stats on the Anime Adventures wiki, which, I will say, is very well put together and pretty comprehensive. But it shouldn't be mandatory to scour a fandom wiki in order to play a game. The wiki wouldn't even really have to exist if the game was just more transparent about what to do and the rates on certain things. Like, seriously, what is the drop rate for secret portals? What is Dio over Heaven's drop rate? Even being in the official Discord doesn't help much. In the announcements for updates, they are so cryptic about what they even actually added. But all of this is just minor complaints compared to the trait system. As they are implemented currently, traits are an inherently money-grubbing addition to the game. The common traits are utterly useless. I guess having one is better than having none. The legendary traits are either pointless or pretty decent. Falling under the pointless category is Adept and Culling. Adept is at least good for leveling units, but Culling simply exists to waste your rolls. Under the decent tier, there's Sniper, which has a few pretty niche uses, but it's at least usable. And Godspeed, which is really good on most units. But the mythic traits, touting premium roll chances and massive buffs that can single-handedly carry you through the entire game. My main problem with this system is that unless you can crank out a divine or unique, most units will not ever reach full potential due to how rare said traits are. Like, seriously, in my entire playtime I have never rolled either of those traits. Say, El Bozo, you're just unlucky all you want. I'm not alone in that statement. Most of my friends haven't gotten a mythic trait. A lot of people from the Discord have never gotten one. The best I've ever gotten on a unit is Reaper, which, by the way, is worse than common traits. Like, cope all you want, it simply is. 30% damage to a boss of a level and 10% everywhere else is terrible. That is one enemy out of a 15-minute level where you do good damage, and hundreds where you do barely more than average. Which, for something that is 0.8% chance to roll, that's not very good. That's subpar at best. Now to clarify, I don't mind having rare things in games. It incentivizes people spending cash on it. That's how the world goes round. But when free-to-play players literally cannot get some things because of this system, that's when the problems begin. Rare traits being rare isn't the problem. It's that to roll traits you need to get star remnants, which are entirely based on RNG. Since star remnants only come from Bulma's shop, doing 10 rolls and getting star golems on hard maps and challenges. From each of these, you'll get 1 star remnant. Some of them a little easier than others, but let's check how much it is to roll a trait on a unit. Let me just grab my Gojo and oh my god, that's 5! It took me 3 hours to get 1 of these! And that is the free-to-play player experience. Sound pleasant? No? Well, that sucks. You could fork over $20 for a 10 roll if you want a chance at getting any good traits. This wouldn't be nearly as much of a problem if not for the fact that traits are so strong that they make most levels a breeze. Without them, you are actively handicapping yourself. Free-to-play players' experience would be easier if they added in trait transfer, or added a pity for mythic traits. But as it stands now, your experience in the game is completely luck-based. If you are a whale or somebody willing to spend every last dollar of your paycheck on trait rerolls or luck boosts or game passes, well, this game is for you. But if you want to rise to the top without spending a dime, you're mostly out of luck. Trading is hard when it's hard to get anything to trade, so you're stuck grinding out thousands and thousands of star remnants for good traits. And what do you do once you get good traits? Oh well, you can go grind on other things. Like the legend stages. When the legend stages were first introduced, they were fine. They weren't that bad. I hated them personally, but at least they were designed well. Beat a hard level a number of times to get the stuff to evolve a unit. Simple enough. Then the Bleach Part 2 update rolled around, which made it worse. But bare minimum, it was at least easy, just a lot of time wasting. Then the JoJo update rolled around and everything went past the bedrock layer and died in the void. The JoJo Legend stages are one of the worst things added to this game. It upset the entire community. Reason being that each JoJo character needs 6 different discs to evolve, and 3 of each of those discs. There are 3 legend stages, and each one has a disc pair. So you do one level, that level's pair is green and blue discs. And on completion of that level, you will either get a green or blue disc. It's a 50-50 chance as to which one you get. Now remember, you need 3 of both of these, so entirely dependent on RNG will be how fast you get done with this specific legend stage. So if you wanted green, oops, sorry, you got blue. Do the level again for a chance to actually get the one you need. So with minimum time investment and the minimum amount of discs, and with a lot of luck, you will have to do all of these stages 6 times, all 3. They take about 10 to 15 minutes each, so being generous with that 10-minute guess, that means that to get one JoJo character, you have to spend 6 hours grinding these levels. And this isn't something you can just AFK. Oh no. These levels are really hard for some reason. Like seriously, the other 2 legend events were really easy. And then they just throw a curveball that kicks you in the teeth. So not only is this 6 hours at minimum of your time, it's 6 hours where you have to enact the same complex strategy over and over and over. Well, that is unless you have a unique unit. These levels are a breeze with one of those. These levels all suck so much that people just straight up actively avoid rolling JoJo units. Like imagine making an update where the grind was so horrible that the entire player base just said nope and just didn't bother. And honestly, why should we bother? The next update is just gonna have units that make these ones suck, and then we're gonna need to grind up those new units, and then we're gonna need to get those new units traits, and then we're gonna need to do it all again for the update after that one. But the devs, seemingly learning nothing, months of outcry about the JoJo update, and they just spat out something 1,000 times worse. As I've said before, I like to start with positives. So let's say the things I like about this update. I think the map is cool, and I also like the fact that they added a relic that boosts crit damage and crit chance. It makes crit more viable in strategies, and that's really cool. Well, now that that's done, we can look at the laundry list from the darkest depths of the abyss about why this update sucked. First things first, the portal system. This sucks for a multitude of reasons, like, it's just straight up taken from the winter event. Once again, the portals have tiers. Harder tiers equals harder level, but higher reward. The higher reward, though, is only about 20 of the new currency, bullets. Which, by the way, you need 1,000 of them for a single character. Now, this isn't all bad. You can get the units from completing levels at, I don't know the chance. Back at it again with not telling us the drop rates because the devs want to be mysterious or something. Also, that relic that I mentioned earlier, the one that I thought was cool, yeah, you need 500 bullets for that. And one of the units from this update basically needs that relic to be at full power. So if you get Aki, have fun grinding out another 500 bullets, which is a perfect segue into problem 2, the units of this update. The units are good, but not all of them are built equal. There's Denji, who's decent on his own, but is mainly good in pair with Power, who's a really good support that pairs well with bleed units. Then there's Aki, who's really good on his own, but with his relic, he can kill even the strongest bosses this game has to offer. Angel, who boasts the highest attack power and highest DPS at the cost of damaging the base per attack. Then there are these two, Kobeni and Himino. Kobeni, which has pretty bad stats for a mythic, with the upside of having a really high placement amount and pretty decent DPS for the cost. And then Himino, which has like 0 redeemable qualities. She's literally just worse Ichigo with the upside of being sellable. That's kinda it. Now, you may be thinking, well, it's not a problem if there's bad units, I can just roll for the good units. And that's where you're wrong. I guess the devs thought it would be really funny if they just made it so that these units were just not on the board. They only come from the special Chainsaw Man capsules, which basically means you only have a 4 out of 6 chance of getting something good, which, do you really want to roll the odds? All that work for a chance to get something bad is such a stupid design idea. When you roll on the board, you can choose when and where you get to roll. With this, you'll just randomly get a chainsaw unit. There's no build-up, there's no hype to, ooh, will I get it? It's literally just, oh hey, I got it, hope I get what I want. And to add salt into the wound, every single unit from the update is limited. Like, dude, what were the devs thinking? Are you insane? You cannot make a mainline series update only have limited units. By now you have likely noticed that when I say update, I put it in quotes. You may be thinking, why is this? The reason is that this update is just an event disguised as an update. So therefore, from this point forward, I'm going to refer to this as the Chainsaw Man event. The thing that makes me most annoyed about this event is that they didn't even add Makima, one of the most important story characters. But they added Himino? Like, are you kidding me? And here we are, whole update later, and she is still not added. Speaking of the devs not adding things, let's move on to problem number 3. The devs not listening to their fans. People have been requesting certain features for years, coming up with detailed ideas and giving perfectly balanced solutions to the problems with the game. And the devs' only response was to look the other way and add emotes. Like, seriously, who wants these? We wanted 2 times speed on infinites, not the ability to hit the gritty. We wanted an overhaul to the trait system, not a reskin of the winter event. In fact, I'm pretty certain a reskin of the winter event is the last thing anybody wanted. With this event, you have burned any goodwill the community has left. People are quitting left and right because of your lazy and callous management. A whole new update came out, and people are still angry and confused as to why you just will not listen to us. Originally, for this final bit, I was gonna do a bunch of small critiques on things that people didn't really care that much about, or things that just personally annoyed me about the event. But a whole new update came out, so I'm gonna talk about that. First things first, let's start with the positives as usual. It's an actual update, it's not just an event disguised as one this time, so that's a plus. They also finally added a new pushback unit, which is nice. We haven't had one of those since like update 1, and we're on 10 right now. Also, they added a new summoner. There's really not much to complain about. It's a pretty stock standard generic update, but the real complaints are just what they didn't add. Like I just talked about, they didn't listen to their community again. They added nothing. They only did like a couple balance changes for old units. That's it. Also, a small note I wanted to add before the end of the video because I thought it was funny. But ever since I started making this video, the game has just been giving me really good stuff. Like, I got 3 chainsaw stars. I literally got Boros on, like, day 2 of the update. Like, it's a bit insane. I never had this kind of luck before. So, it makes me wonder, you know, do the devs know I'm making this? Are they trying to stop me? But I feel like that wraps up most of my points. There are some minor ones that I could say, but they just generally annoy me. They don't really say anything about the game itself. Nothing I said in this video was in mean spirit. It's from a genuine enjoyment of the game, and the frustration of watching it decay before my very eyes. Most of the problems with this game can be addressed if the devs just listen to us for once, or at minimum tell us why you're not listening. And if you won't listen, then what is the point of the 3 suggestion channels? The wiki people constantly suggest perfectly good ideas, and you just say nothing and do whatever you want. So please, I am begging from one person in the community to try and represent us all. Please, just listen to us.